All right, so here we are, A31, Green Book, page 243, number 26. I'm going to write the equation of that line that I took the picture of. So let's go ahead and start with what our equation is just in generic form. And it is that y is equal to mx plus b. And we've seen that a lot. So once again, b, let's go ahead and change colors. So we know that b is our y-intercept, and once again, that is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. All right, so there we go. So I'm going to come over to my graph. Here is my y-axis, and I'm going to choose that point right there where it crosses. And now I know the coordinates of that point are 0, 3. So when I have this equation right here, y equals mx plus b, so let's go ahead and rewrite that equation over here. Y is equal to mx plus b. Well, so far I know that my b is 3. So let's go ahead and put that in. So there it is. So that's the one thing we know so far. Now we're going to go ahead and solve for our slope. So let's choose a different color. We'll use pretty purple, and off we go. So m is my slope, and that is my change in y over my change in x. So I'm going to do it two ways, just to show you that I'm smart enough to do it two ways. And let's go ahead and take a look at what we know. Well, I can choose that point I already know, 0, -3. And I can go ahead and say that this is the point x1, y1. And I can call this point down here that I know, and the coordinates of that point are 3, 2, and I'm going to call that x2, y2. Okay, well, I know my slope is x2 minus, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And for us, right, y2 is 2, so there we go, minus, and then y1 is 3. So we have y minus 3 over x2 here is 3, and x1 here is 0, and 2 minus -3 is -1, and 3 minus 0 is 3, so I have my slope is -1/3. As I look at my graph, I'm pretty comfortable with that because I'm pretty clear that as I read my graph from left to right, it is in fact going down. Okay, so I know my slope is negative. If I didn't want to do it that way, I could have done it by counting. So from this point to this point, from here to this point right here, I'm going to go down 1. So my change in y is -1. And then I'm going to go over 3. And the change in x is a +3. And I end up with my slope, change in y over the change in x being -1/3 as well. So last thing I have to do is to take my handy dandy eraser, come over here, I'm going to get rid of the m because now I know what m is. I'm going to go back to my purple because that's all my slope, and I'm going to put in a -1. -1/3. Not very good at making that look good. That's a really ugly 1/3. Anyway, it's the right answer. So I have y is equal to -1/3 x plus 3. And that's the end of that video. We'll do another problem in a second. All right, so I'm going to write this equation 2y minus this number 51 from assignment 31. So I'm going to take the equation 2y minus 6 is equal to 3x, and I'm going to write it into slope-intercept form. So the first thing I know is that it's a linear equation because I have my x and y, and they have a one-to-one correspondence in this equation. So let's go ahead, and we're going to leave minus 6 equals 3. And then we're going to put our x and our y, there we go, in black. So we know those guys don't get to change, but everything else we can move around. So in this case, I know that in order to have it in slope-intercept form, I must isolate y. Well, as I look, y has all kinds of friends over, and we need to get those friends to the other side of the equation safely across the river and home. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our equation. So once again, let me go ahead and grab my purple. I have 2 minus 6 equals 3, and let's put these back in black so we keep track of them here. I have y and x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let's write all our changes in red. I'm going to add 6 to both sides of this equation. There we go. Those guys are gone. That makes me happy. And I have, in fact, 2. Let's go ahead and y is equal to 3x, and now we have a plus 6 over here. Okay, now I have that 2, and I look and I say, what's going on between the 2 and the y? Well, the answer to that is multiplication. So to undo that multiplication, I'm going to divide. So let's go ahead and divide both sides of that equation by a 2. So I'm going to divide that by 2. And now I need to remember I'm dividing every single term by 2. And that's probably the hardest part of this whole process. Okay, so I divided, you can see I divided that term by 2, I divided that term by 2, right? And I divided that term by 2. So everybody's divided by 2, so I checked and made sure that happened. And now when I do that, you know, I finally get y all by itself, just like I wanted. And I have y is equal to, and let's go ahead, and we have 3/2 x. And then I have plus. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's my final equation. My final equation is right here. Let's go ahead and put a red box around that one so we can see what the final answer is. Well, it's not exactly a box. It's a loopy box, but that's okay. We get y is equal to 3/2 x plus 3. And once again, my slope in this case is the coefficient on the x, so it's a positive 3/2, and my y-intercept is a positive 3. So if I wanted to draw a really quick graph of this, which I know you want to do, so I'll do it. 1, 2, 3, there's my y-intercept, and my slope is 3, so I'm going to go up 3 over 2, right, up 3 right there, over 2, there we go, and there is my beautiful line. All right, there you guys go. That's it. I'm done for the day. You guys have a few more problems to do, and this video will be, I'll ask the questions as an extra credit on your quiz tomorrow. All right, you guys, have fun. Bye.